بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وقال الله تعالى الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. وقال الله تعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. وقال الله تعالى هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم الذي الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون والله الخالق البارئ المصور. If you read the Quran, there are many names of Allah in the Quran which Allah introduced to us. And through those names we know Allah. We get the ma'rifah of Allah, the introduction of Allah. Because we have no knowledge of the self of Allah. As Prophet Muhammad said, narrated by Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu, وَتَفَكَّرُ فِي خَلْقِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تَفَكَّرُ فِي اللَّهِ. And ponder, research, think about the creation of Allah and do not think about the self of Allah. So we are not even allowed to think about the self of Allah. We can only discuss the names of Allah. And we know Allah through His names. Allah, the only God worthy to be worshipped, that could be the meaning of Allah. Because Allah is coming from the two words, Al-Ilah. Al-Ilah, when you join the two words Al-Ilah, that becomes Allah. The only God worthy to be worshipped. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, Al-Salam, Al-Mu'min, Al-Muhaymin, Al-Aziz, Al-Jabbar, Al-Mutakabbir, Al-Khaliq, Al-Bari, Al-Musawwir. And you can go on. Not only the 99 names which people they thought that there are only 99 names of Allah. The names of Allah are unlimited. And there are much more than 99 names in Quran. Ar-Rabb. Prophet Muhammad gave one of the name of Allah in the hadith, At-Tabib, the physician. Allah is the one who make us sick and Allah is the one who give us a cure. Allah is the one who cure us. He is the ultimate tabib. He is the ultimate physician. Allah can be called a great architect. And we can see his architect in the world, in the universe. That's how Allah created the universe. You can call Allah the great engineer. That He engineered the whole universe with His power. You can call Him the controller of the universe, who controls the universe. The name of Allah, the name of Allah, the originator, Everything is originated from Him. Everything comes from nothing. Allah bring everything in the existence from nothing. Before Allah can create anything, not even the throne of Allah, not even the arsh, the throne, not the heavens and the earth, the universe, not the planets and the stars, the human and animals. Nothing was created before, then only there was only one Allah, who is infinite. You cannot estimate the greatness of Allah. How much more we can estimate only the universe which Allah created, which is to compute in a light year, that you have to travel with the speed of the light for 93 billion years. That is the size of the universe which we cannot estimate. There is no machine to estimate the universe. How much more we can estimate the greatness of Allah? So we know Allah with His names. One of the name of Allah which I read in Surah Ikhlas, Allahu Samad. Allah is eternal, absolute, infinite. In Tagalog, walang hanggang. No beginning, no end. No limitation for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He does not need anything, and He does not need anyone. So we reject any statement which can make Allah in need. We reject all those statements, because we believe Allah is As-Samad, who is without any need, not in need of anything and not in need of anyone. Laysa kamithlihi shay'un, nothing is comparable unto Him. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad, and there is no one comparable unto Him. So Allah is not like human, Allah is not like the heaven, Allah is not like universe, Allah is not like earth, stars, sun and moon and planets. Anything which you can think in your mind, which you can imagine, that's not Allah. Because Allah is unthinkable, Allah is unimaginable. Allah is the most high, Allah is the most great. Allah ang dakila. What we are supposed to do, to follow the commands of Allah, and not to make ideas about the self of Allah, but to follow the commandments of Allah. But which today the Muslim Ummah is failed to comply as whole, just individually. Some individuals, they are practicing the commandments of Allah, but as a whole the Muslim Ummah is failed to comply the commands of Allah. So we can see the results today. The Muslims everywhere, they are in trouble, everywhere in destitute, in misery, in problems, all kind of problems, economical problems, social problems, any problem, because we are away from the commands of Allah. The Muslim Ummah as whole is away from the commands of Allah. So we can see the results. The Muslim Ummah is subjugated. When Prophet ﷺ brought the Quran and people started to follow him, initially very few, but when he completed his mission, Hajjatul Wida, when he made the Hajj before he died, there were 100,000 of his companions was around to listen to him, and he gave his final message, and he told them that whoever are present here, bring this message to those who are not present here. And since then the Sahaba, they brought the message to the world. And the history witnessed, go and check the history of the human by any source, not necessarily the Muslim source. Even those who criticize Islam and who criticize Muslims, they also accept that there was a golden age of Muslims, when the Muslims were ruling the world by the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But today our Muslims are subjugated. And they are divided into 50 different countries, which is against the basics of Islam. Because the time of the Caliph Umar, from the east to the west and to the north to the south, there was only one rule. There was only one government, the Islamic government. There was no 50 Muslim states, no. And those 50 Muslim states, no one is following the command of Allah. Some are the democratic governments and some are the monarchist governments. And yesterday means 50 years ago, there were many of the Muslim governments were the communist governments. They were following the communist rules. And there are always scholars available to endorse those systems. Because most of the scholars are on salary basis by the governments. The government give them salaries. So they say what government want them to say. So they approved yesterday the communist governments, and now they are approving the monarchists and democratic governments. And Islam is better than democracy. Because democracy is a system man-made, made by the man, created by the man. But Islam is not the man-made, but it's the rule of the Creator who created the universe. And when the universe is perfect, with harmony, without any problem, because following the rule of the Creator, our human being can get better if we follow the rule of the Creator, the rule of the Creator of the universe. And we can see there is always problem. We can see the results of democratic system of government. It's failed. It's failed everywhere miserably. In South America, in Philippines, in any part of the world. Even though you look, there is a buildings there, and you can see lots of development there, but internally, it's nothing inside. We thought that America is very rich country, but the people in America are miserable. Because they don't have anything, they pay everything to the banks because of the capitalism, which is a part of the democratic governments. They don't save anything. We thought that Malaysia is very rich country and developed country. Go and check Malaysia. The people are in Malaysia in miserable condition. They have nothing in their pockets. They pay everything to the banks. And how I can prove this? For example, the millions of people in America, they make suicide because of the financial problem. So if you think that the democracy is working good and is making things better, then why the millions of people in America make suicide? Because of the economical problem, because of the financial problems, because they are depressed and they took the lots of drugs to relieve the depression, but they cannot relieve the depression. So one day they make the overdose of the drug and they kill themselves with the overdoses of drugs. Social problem. America, there are more than 1 million women raped in a year. More than 1 million women raped in America in a year. Can you imagine 1 million rape? That makes more than 3,000 rapes a day, continuously. Go and check the FBI website. Go and check the Department of Justice website in America. The Muslims are also making a violence in the name of Islam, which is prohibited in Islam. The Muslim is the one who protect the lives and the properties of the people, not to make destruction. We need to go to America. We have to bring Islam to them. We have to pity them. We have to bring it to Europe, to Philippines, to all the world people, because they are waiting for us to introduce a way of life which can solve their problems. Not to fight with them, not to trouble with them, not to give the bad name to Islam, but to bring them Islam. To tell them that Islam can solve all your problems. Millions of people are dying with alcohol, and Islam prohibits the alcohol. Millions of people are dying with smoking. Islam prohibits anything which can destroy the life. Islam prohibits abortion. There are more than 50 million abortions in the world in every year. 50 million children are killed in the name of abortion, which is infanticide, killing an infant, killing a baby child, boy or girl. And Islam prohibits abortion. We have to give the good name of Islam. We have to bring Islam to the people. And of course they will say, if Islam is the solution, then why the Muslim world is in trouble? Because Muslim world is not implying the Islam in their system. They are not using the Islam as their system. Rather they are following the monarchists, or they are following the modern Western system, which is not solving their own problems. Economical problem, social problem, all kind of problems in the world. The world is filled with problems. One of the major cause of death in the world today is suicide. The rich countries are the number one. America and Japan, they are the number one in suicide making. In America, the way of suicide is through the overuse of drug. But in Japan, there are different methods of suicide. People are depressed with the system. And Islam gives a way of life, spiritually and physically. Spiritually, we have salah, we have remembrance of Allah, think of Allah. Don't regret, but rather think what happened to you, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you will not blame yourself anymore. Rather you will be accepting what Allah gave it to you. There are different ways in Islam to give us a good life, the good moral, not just physically but also spiritually. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." Surely only with the remembrance of Allah the hearts can get tranquility, the peace, the calmness, the sukoon, the itminan. The people are trying to get the tranquility, the peace in different things, in drugs, in fornication, in alcohol, in cigarettes. But they cannot get it because Allah says surely only with the remembrance of Allah. Remember Allah as much as we can, then we can have a very good heart, a peaceful heart. Always be happy with His Lord. So Muslims today are in trouble because they fail to comply the command of Allah. The people are saying, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. What is the meaning to be a Muslim? The meaning to be a Muslim is the one who do the Islam. The one who do the Islam, he is Muslim. A person who doesn't do the Islam, he is not Muslim. And what is Islam? Is qala lahu rabbuhu aslim, qala aslamtu li rabbil alamin. When his Lord said to him, to Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, submit, aslim, submit to the command of Allah. Qala, he said, aslamtu li rabbil alamin, I submitted to the Lord of the worlds. That's all. You don't need any big education to understand the definition of Islam. The definition of Islam is to submit to the command of Allah. That's all. Where is the command of Allah? Just in the masjid or everywhere? In the market, in the house, in the houses, in the markets, in the public, in the schools. Wherever you go, the commands of Allah with you. You to obey. And not just Allah give the command of Allah, not just He give His commands to us to obey, but He give us example also. He sent His messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to obey the commands of Allah, and He show us the model. He shows the way how to follow the commands of Allah. So it's not that I follow the commands of Allah in my way or in your way or somebody's way. No, we follow the commands of Allah in the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one thing put in your mind, do not neglect this very important advice for me, myself and all of you. Any scholar, any person in the human being, in the ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Even Abu Bakr, Siddiq, Umar, Usman, Ali, or all the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and after them all the scholars, Tabain or Tabain, or whoever they are, no one can claim that he cannot be mistaken. No one ever did claim, and no one is claiming, has right to claim, and no one will have a right to claim that I can be free from mistake. No. Because we are all not the prophets of Allah. We can all be mistaken. So there we are not authority. The prophets are protected by Allah because they are the prophets and Allah made them model. So Allah protect them to be mistaken. So do not say that, scholars say that I should follow because he's a big scholar. That is blind following. That is the way of the Jews and Christians, so they were misguided. When Abu Bakr Siddiq was the Khalifa, no one criticizing him, asking him why and why and why. And Abu Bakr Siddiq is explaining to Umar, that's all. And if he's wrong, he accepts, I'm wrong, I'm willing to correct. And it is the same way of Umar when he became Khalif. He told to his people, whenever you see me wrong, correct me. So where this ideology is coming? This is scholar, no, he cannot be wrong, he's right. Where this ideology is coming from? This is not the ideology of Islam. Ideology of Islam, that human being is prone to be mistaken. That is the nature of the human to be mistaken. Who are all those people like the followers of the Prophet, starting from the Sahaba, companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who we are compared to the Prophet Adam alayhi salam? The first prophet, the first human being, and he was able to mistake, so he was out of paradise. How much more? And a scholar, you say, oh, he's a scholar, he cannot be mistaken. What are you talking about? How you can make a blind faith on a scholar? When the Prophet Adam, the first man, the first prophet, he was able to mistake, and his wife, and they were out of the paradise because of that mistake. How much more a poor scholar compared to a prophet of Allah? How much more? What's happening to the people? In the process to defending the scholar, they are giving up their iman. How much more a scholar is free from a mistake when a prophet of Allah can be mistaken, and he was punished by Allah for that mistake, and he was out of the paradise because of that mistake? How much more a scholar, just a human being, an ordinary human being, not a prophet with title of the prophet? How much more? Unless we'll have no attitude to criticize, we'll never get guidance. Criticize. Whenever you think that is wrong, criticize and question it right away. And the people say, oh, why are you criticizing a scholar? What's happening to you? What's happening to you? The Sahaba, they criticize each other to correct each other. There is an attitude in the Europe and America. They make the debate and they criticize each other to correct themselves. And the Muslim may criticize Bawal. Why Bawal criticize? Criticize is a way of learning. Questioning is a way of learning. And nobody can have to be offended with the questioning or criticizing. I am willing to accept any question, and I am willing to accept the criticism of the people, so I can clear my side. I can explain my side. That is a way of learning in Islam. The arguments, the criticize, questioning, answering, that is a way of learning in Islam. And not to have any blind faith in any human being. In fact, there is no blind faith in Islam. Even we believe Allah with authority, with evidence. We don't just believe without evidence. We believe with evidence. We believe in the Quran with evidence. Because we have the evidence, the Quran is the book of Allah. Because it contains no mistake. It contains the scientific facts which nobody knew 1,400 years ago. So it must be from God Almighty Allah, the Quran. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with evidence. Because the evidence of Allah is the whole universe. Who create the universe and who is running the universe, who create all the human beings and who is controlling all the human beings. We have evidence for everything. The blind faith is a part of the Christianity. Because they believe in Trinity and they cannot explain it. So they have to believe it blindly. That's why they say the Trinity is a faith which neither can be illustrated nor can be proven. You have to believe it blindly. There is no such thing in Islam. We believe everything with authority. We believe everything with evidence, with authority, with proofs. May Allah guide us. Alhamdulillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وقال الله تعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد وقال الله تعالى ليس كمثله شيء. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only one, as he said, قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد, Allah the eternal absolute, that he is eternal, he is infinite, he is outside his creation, and all the creation in front of him is smaller than atom. Lahat ng likha niya sa harap ng Allah mas maliit pa sa isang atom o mas maliit pa sa isang bigas. Easy to understand. Very small the creation of Allah. And Allah is outside his creation. And Allah can destroy us in a moment. So if anything comes from any person which is against the majesty of Allah, we need to see the majesty of Allah, not the majesty of the scholar. Because scholar can be wrong, but the majesty of Allah cannot be wrong. I can give you the example of one scholar who was, before the creation of human being, he was the greatest scholar of all the world. Before the creation of Adam alayhi salam. Before the creation of a human being, there was a great scholar who has a knowledge more than angels, and he was Shaitan, and his name was Iblis. His name is Iblis, and he was a very learned jinn, a creature of Allah, who has a lots of knowledge, and he was a great worshipper of Allah. But because of rejecting one command of Allah, he became a disbeliever, and he became the worst. He became the worst. So don't make any exception in relate to Allah. When you hear something against Allah and his command and against his prophet, against his book, reject it. Either you think he is a great scholar, never mind, because your faith is first priority for you. Because if you have a wrong faith, you go to hellfire forever, and if you have a right faith, you go to paradise forever. Choose your priority, your faith, your iman, your belief. And if you want another example, in Mecca, the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, among all the human beings, the most popular person by knowledge was Abu Jahl, the father of wisdom. They call him Abu Hakam, the father of wisdom. The most wise man in Mecca in the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was Abu Jahl, but his name was not Abu Jahl yet. But when he rejected the oneness of Allah, what the name was given to him? Abu Jahl, the father of the ignorance, father of mga bubo. So you have to be good when you follow the command of Allah, even if you have small knowledge, but you submit to the command of Allah without committing any wrong statement. Not to mix any wrong statement with your iman, with any wrong belief. And you die with the small amal, with the small good deeds, you have a chance to go to paradise. But if you die with the wrong faith about Allah, the wrong aqidah, then you have a problem in the next life. So be careful about your aqidah, what you think about Allah, what you believe about Allah. So just believe Allah. Allah is eternal, absolute, outside his creation, not mixing with his creation, and he is the great. Even the throne which Allah created is just for a purpose, and it's just a creation of Allah, which is in front of Allah is nothing. So may Allah guide us, may Allah help us. May Allah give us more and more knowledge about Islam, the right knowledge, and may Allah save us from deviation. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب آمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار آمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين آمين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.